my fellow readers. Today I'm going to be talking about Summer Ghost. I am kind of going to compare the manga to the light novel because there are some differences. Essentially it is the same story, but there are a couple of differences throughout them. I'm not going to give that all away though because that's spoilers. But I guess I'll read the back. Maybe I'll read the back of both to see how they describe them. But the first one, for the light novel, they say, it's funny, they say, but that's literally how the back of this starts. They say that if you set off fireworks at a certain abandoned airfield outside of town on a midsummer's night, the spirit of a young woman who took her own life might appear before you. 3 teens from different high schools, all interested in this local urban legend, come together on one fateful evening when the boundary between life and death grows thin. And then from the manga, again, essentially the same. According to urban legend, there's an abandoned airfield on the edge of town where a spirit known as the Summer Ghost can be summoned. After discovering each other on the internet, 3 teenagers from different high schools who share a certain connection to death meet up to summon the mysterious specter. Thus begins a story that will bridge the boundary between life and death on a midsummer night that none of them will ever forget. And there is an anime for this, I believe just film version, and this is by, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the name, but who did, here we go, Otsuishi, and Otsuishi did Goth, which I've read previously, and I do have the other Otsuishi book, Summer Fireworks and My Corpse, which I thought I was never going to get because I ordered it from Right Stuff ages ago, but I didn't actually get a copy of that until Right Stuff closed the main store and like became part of Crunchyroll, and then I just magically got it in the mail from Crunchyroll. So I look forward to reading that one because I want to see it. And then the other part of interest is that the illustrator, at least for this, I think the manga had a different illustrator, but the illustrator for the light novel was the illustrator for, or cover artist for I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. So I think that's very interesting. And they are the director for the film version. And I kind of want to see the film version to see which story they adapt more. And it's not that there's a huge difference between these two, but there were some things that were like expressly said. I think in the light novel it would say outright, but kind of remained mysterious in the manga. The biggest thing about this story is that it involves 3 teenagers who meet on this online forum and decide to meet up in order to summon this ghost. And what we find out after they do the ritual of summoning the ghost, and there is a ghost figure in here, is that the ghost really only appears and can communicate with those who are seeking death or are near death. So if someone is more suicidal, and in this case they're all suicidal, but 2 of them, it's their own choice, and they've kind of determined that they're going to take their own lives at some point. We don't really know. And the 3rd character wants to take his own life, but only because he's critically ill, and so he kind of wants to make that decision before his health just deteriorates to the point of passing away. But of course, as these things go, the course of the events and them meeting and the coming together to solve the mystery of the ghost and the ghost passing kind of inspires them to live their lives in other ways, depending on each character. They're each their unique story of why they're kind of depressed. The female character, and again, I'm really bad with names, so I'm not gonna look for the names because I never remember them. The main female character in the story, and she's kind of a bit more of a protagonist in the manga, I feel like, than in the light novel. In fact, I feel like they all get better representation in the manga, and the light novel focuses more on the main boy lead, the one who is not sick. But in the manga, I feel like they all get kind of a fair representation. Now, the female, as I was saying, she actually has been being bullied in school, and she feels like she doesn't fit in and she doesn't have any friends. And so with her, it's mainly this deep loneliness that's leading her to feel like it would be better if she just was not around anymore. And so she's trying to cope with that. And I think that's why for her, just getting to interact with these two actually helps her a lot, because suddenly she's not alone. And in the manga, especially, she attaches to the two very quickly. And her story's kind of simple. The male lead, again, the one that's not sick, with him, he's a very interesting character. He is, I want to say, divorced. I think his parents were divorced. I don't think his dad died, but he's currently just living with his mother. And he is more of an artistic child. Like, he loves art and expressing himself through art, but his mother is really forcing him to go the academic route. I mean, not that he's not academic or smart, he is. It's just he has that release through art. But his mom doesn't see a value in that, so she really just wants him to push forward with his studying. So for him, it's kind of an escape from this life that he doesn't really want to live anymore. Like, he just doesn't, he can't see a way out of it and how he can live the life that he really wants to live. So for him, again, that's why he's feeling very deep and sad. The final story, he is an athlete and discovers that he is terminally ill and therefore can no longer do sports anymore. And it's the depression of losing all of that, and also not feeling that you can communicate with your friends anymore because you're no longer that same person. You have more limitations, and he knows that he has a limit of time as well. And so for him, it becomes more about seeing the value of the time that he has left and letting people in and still maintaining friendships and closeness, even though he knows that he doesn't know how much longer he has to live. So I think all three of them have very interesting stories, and they're all deeply moving. Like, this is a very sad piece. Definitely have to go into it with the right frame of mind, because there is a lot of sadness to the stories. In general, I also feel like they're inspirational, because they do find ways to kind of see the brightness in life. And a big part of that, of course, is they're dealing with the ghost. And the ghost reveals that she was murdered, and she wants to know where her body is, and she can't move on until she discovers where her body is. So a big part of the story is the mystery of finding out what happened to her and where her body is, and hopefully releasing her. And again, the other overall story, of course, is the friendship of these three students and seeing them through their way through this really dark time for them all, and hoping that they move forward in a better light as well. And I did actually enjoy both of these. Neither one took an extremely long amount of time to read. The light novel's very short. I just want to go and see again how many pages. Yeah, it's only 193 pages, so it's super short. And the manga is not too long either. But both were lovely and a little sad, and there's definitely twists and turns that I'm not going to talk about because spoilers. But I do think if you haven't read these and you like a touch of bittersweet story, then Summer Ghost is a nice little treat to yourself. And yeah, we can also enjoy the film. I have not seen it yet, and I don't actually know if it's released. I think I was looking it up, and I don't remember what I saw about it. But if it is available, you can give it a watch too. I'm very, very interested in seeing the movie because, again, I want to see like which story they kept more in line with, because this is definitely, again, like main protagonist focused. It doesn't so much deal with each individual member of the trio, whereas this does. And I guess that being said, I would kind of read both because I really liked getting the fuller story. And I think there were a few things that are different, if I remember correctly. I'm not going to remember at this time what those were, because I did actually read this a while ago. So some of the fine details are hazy. I just remember the overall things that stuck out to me. But either way, I think it's well worth a read. So check out Summer Ghost. It's by a pretty good creator. That's it for this video. Until next time, bye.